Welcome to Today the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Here on Today the News, we read and give in-depth analysis on some of the stories making waves across Nigeria. Now, starting with the front page of Vanguard on the paper review. Vanguard is leading with petrol subsidy removal not immediate. That's coming from Presidency Source as fuel scarcity grounds major cities nationwide. Governors read riot act to marketers. Subsidy will end Nigeria if. That's coming from Vice President Shetima. Marketers hoard petrol, sell a litre for 600 naira, black market 750. Reps back subsidy remover, hails Tinubu's courage. Appeal to Nigerians to be patient with government. Don't panic over policy. That's coming from NMDPRA. Tinubu resumes at Aso Rock, meets Emefiele and Kyari. Federal government holds NNPCL 2.8 trillion naira. That's coming from Kyari. Says subsidy removal belated. Notes Tinubu's pronouncement in line with law. TUC Cake says it's a joke taken too far. You can see that story on page 5. And here there's a photo story showing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu inspecting the guard of honor formally welcoming him to the presidential villa Abuja yesterday. On page 14, iTech, FinTech Nigeria. Digital payment users may hit 146.10 M in 2027. And on sports, Argentina 2023. F Eagles won't be intimidated by Argentina and crowd that's coming from Borso. On page 9, TINUBU to DSS. Vacate EFCC office immediately. And another photo story here is showing long fuel queues at filling station following the fuel subsidy removal by the president in Abuja yesterday. ASUU cut upholds federal government's no work, no pay policy. That can be seen on page 13. On page 8, National Assembly leadership tussle. Group raises alarm over plot to arrest Yari and Betara. Stock market surges 5.2% on new government sentiment. That can be seen on page 19. Zenith Bank named the best corporate governance financial services in Africa. Obi calls first witness tenders exhibit of Tinubu's alleged drug case. That can be seen on page 9. Lastly, on Vanguard newspaper, presidential poll, article tenders 118 exhibit against Tinubu. That can be seen on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's move to the Punch. The Punch is leading with subsidy. Fuel sells 600 naira per litre, queues worsen as filling stations shuts. Tinubu, NNPCL, GMD, others meet. Framework for removal on the way. Federal government cannot fund subsidy again, owes NNPCL 2.8 trillion naira, says Kyari. Kwara, Ekiti, Bayelsa governors, others warn marketers against hoarding. National Assembly anti-zoning group condemns alleged plan to arrest Betara and Yari. OAU students, Adedoyin workers bag death sentence. Hotel forfeited. You can see that on page 7. Stories above. 11 trillion naira spent on moribund refineries in 13 years. That's coming from Reps. Last on the Punch newspaper, Tinubu inherits over 16 trillion naira uncompleted projects. That can be seen on page 28. Now let's move to the Nation. The Nation is leading with stock market gains 1.5 trillion naira on Tinubu's policy direction. PDP, Labour Party, open case before tribunal. Stories above, we have federal government owing NNPCL 2.8 trillion naira, says Gary. Lastly on the Nation newspaper, OAU students, Adedoyin, 2 others get death sentence. That can be seen on page 7. And lastly, let's look at the Guardian. Guardian is leading with morning after inauguration. Nationwide chaos, pain as stakeholders seek caution on subsidy removal. That can be seen on page 6. And here we have PEPC admits 5 exhibits from OB, printout of Beaver's results from article. That can be seen on page 2. And we also have Tinubu reinstate sanity as DSS EFCC squabble over property in Lagos. That can be seen on page 3. And stories above. Population Commission, 200 billion naira votes and Bosch 2023 census. That can be seen on page 4. And lastly on the Guardian newspaper, court justifies government no work, no pay rule against ASUU. That's all on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break as our correspondent will be giving us details on stories across Nigeria. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Joining me right now is our correspondent, John Bosco. He'll be telling us about the president's order to DSS. Hello, John Bosco.
Hello, Thomas. Good morning.
Yes, please give us your report.
Yesterday, Nigerians, woke up with a disturbing information on news that the Department of State Services, invaded EFCC office in Lagos and then, stopped officials from going there. And I think, Mr. President, the corrective measure, last night through a statement from one of his spokespersons, Kinderaman, directed DSS to immediately vacate, that office that belongs to EFCC. The president, has the view that if eventually there's any problem between the two government agencies, such problems have to be settled amicably and not, leading to such an embarrassing, situation.
Any information now if they vacated the premises of EFCC?
The report came late last night, and I think if there is any compliance to it, it has to be that last night. But I think with what the president did, every Nigerian is commending him for taking a proactive measure, and I think the DG of DSS, knowing that this is a federal government agency, has no other option than to comply with the directive from the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I don't think the DSS has any option than to comply with that directive.
All right, thank you, John Bosco, for that report.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. The removal of petrol subsidy will no longer be immediate. Vanguard gathered authoritatively last night. Recall that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had said in his inauguration speech Monday that the subsidy was gone as it was not provided for in the 2023 budget. But sources told Vanguard yesterday that implementation of the removal of subsidy would commence post-June. The need to clarify issues, sources told Vanguard, informed the meeting the president had with the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Group Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mr. Mele Kyari, in the presidential villa Abuja yesterday. It was learned that the essence of the meeting was to engage labor anytime from today to ensure the seamless removal of the subsidy. A source said one of the fallouts of the meeting was for NNPCL to set up a template that would ensure that no toxic fuel was imported into the country and also create a benchmark for price. The clarification came as scarcity of the product ground activities in major cities nationwide yesterday. Yesterday, fuel queues emerged in many petrol stations as marketers who started hoarding fuel sold their product for as high as 600 naira per litre. Now, from the southwest to the southeast, south-south to northwest, and other zones of the country, it was tales of war and fuel crisis gathered steam. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu yesterday met with the governor of CBN and the chief executive officer of NNPC at his presidential villa on the matter. This was the first official assignment by the president after his inauguration as the 16th president of the country at Eagle Square, Abuja, yesterday. Let's move away from that. The National Industrial Court has upheld the no work, no pay policy by the federal government in the suit filed against the Academic Staff Union of University ASUU. According to the court, the no work, no pay rule enforced by the federal government against the members of ASUU who went on strike last year is perfectly legal. In a judgment delivered by the president of the court, Justice Benedict, the court held that it is within the right of the federal government to withhold salaries of workers who embark on industrial action. The court, however, held that it is a violation of university autonomy for the federal government to impose the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, that's IPPRS, platform on members of ASUU who reserve the right to determine how their salaries should be paid. Now, let's take us back to 2022, the federal government had dragged ASUU before the National Industrial Court over the demand of the union for the payment of their salaries from February 14 to October 7, 2022, when the strike was called off. Now, to get more of the stories, of course, you can get it from our website. Now, let's end this with Mr. and Mrs. Mr. says, come on, Oni, you're going to get the money. Don't make it look like the removal of fuel subsidy. And Mrs. replied, and don't make it look like I'm ordering anything by sleeping separately. Mr. is definitely not going to like that one. But of course, you have to pay a price for not giving Mrs. what she wants. And this is where we have to draw the curtain. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. Do well to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. Have a lovely day.